I am Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sahu. As you know, I welcome you all to today's Gyanalok Saturday lecture series on social development issue and role of development professional, jointly organized by Gyanalok Trust and the Department of Social Work, Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, Utkal University, Odisha. Today we have with us an eminent speaker, Mr. Bibhuti Bhusan Gadanayak. Mr. Bibhuti Bhusan Gadanayak is currently working as a senior technical advisor, disaster risk management and emergency, United Nations Development Program, Ministry in charge of emergency management, Government of Rwanda, East Africa. Mr. Gadanayak received his master's degree in disaster preparedness, mitigation and management from ASEAN Institute of Technology, Thailand. And he has also another master degree in social work from Utkal University, Odisha, India. Additionally, he has completed his MPhil from Central Institute of Psychiatric, Kanke, Ranchi, India. Prior to the current assignment of working UNDP, Mr. Gadanayak was working as Education in Emergency Coordinator, UNICEF, Barbados, based in Ministry of Education, Youth, Culture, Social and Library Services, Turk and Kaiso Island. He has also worked with the organizations like CCA, like UNICEF, Guwahati, India, disaster risk reduction and climate change adoption specialist with UNDP, the Gambia, West Africa, subsequently as United Disaster Management Team Officer with UNDP based in Delhi, India program. After graduating from AIT, he joined with UNISDR, UNDRR, Bangkok, Thailand to analyze the institutional and policy landscapes on disaster risk reduction and climate change adoption in South Asia. As part of his responsibility, he was engaged in coordination of intergovernmental agencies like ASEAN, SARC, for the provision of assistance to inter-agency working group and committees. He has analyzed the climate change adoption and disaster risk reduction institutional and policy landscape of India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia. In the recent past, he has authored the document like Child Risk and Impact Analysis, Niger, National Strategy for Disaster Risk Reduction for Rwanda, Comprehensive School Safety Security Policy Guideline for Assam, West Bengal in India, Turk and Caicos Island in Asia. During his tenure in different countries, he was deputed to universities and special request as a guest faculty to teach the subject like disaster risk management, climate change adoption, etc. He started his professional life as a lecturer at National Institute of Social Work and Social Sciences under Utkal University way back in 1998 and subsequently joined the UN in 2003. In addition to his professional achievement, he has contributed journals, articles, and reports like Asia Pacific Disaster Report 2010 and 2012. He has also authored a book titled A Path to Disaster Resilient Communities, published by Lambert Academic Publishing, German. Out of his vast knowledge and experience in development sector, Mr. Bibhuti Bhusan Gadanayak will deliver a lecture today on opportunities in social development sectors, essential professional skills and competencies. On behalf of Gyanalok Trust, Department of Social Work, DDCE Utkal University, and all the participants present in today's lecture, I welcome our honorable speaker, Mr. Bibhuti Bhusan Gadanayak, and request to address the audience. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you very much. Am I audible clearly now?
Yes, you are clearly audible.
Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for your appreciation and recitation about my achievement. Thank you. I have studied, initially I started my career as a MSW professional, then subsequently I went for this different studies. I got an opportunity to read in Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand about disaster management. So that gave me a chance to read. Subsequently, that enabled me to join in different jobs. Thank you. Today's my topic is social development issues and role of development professionals. Some part I'll be sharing with you from different theories and different books
Can
I
you,
have
sir,
referred.
make your voice little loud or increase your
Okay,
sound or something?
then in that case, let me. Am I audible now? Let me pull it little
You
close
are
by.
audible, but it will be better if it will be little louder.
Now is it audible? Louder?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So today in my discussion I'll be discussing about on the topic about the social development issues and roles of development professionals. I'll try to bring all my experience. I have worked in different countries as well as in my presentation. I have also referred some books. At the same time, I'll bring my experiences so that it will be better to be more practical about the topic and learn from each other. During my presentation, I'll be talking the issues like what is social development, understanding issues in social development, educational issues in development, educational issues and concerns, health issues. Likewise, I'll be covering all the aspect of development, social development issues. Then at the end, I'll be discussing about the role of development professionals in the various areas, how we achieve being a development professional, how we perform in various countries and what achievement we have brought and how it is linking to the theory that we have been taught in different class. Let me now speak a little about what is social development. Social development is nothing but the investing in people. What we do in disaster management, we say investing $1 helps to save $6. It means if we are investing $1 in disaster mitigations, it helps us to save $6 from the investment on the expenditure. For example, in case there is a disaster and we are giving relief, rehabilitation, reconstruction, all these things what we are spending. If we are spending prior to onset of disaster, then that will be more helpful to us than investing a lot of money. So that's what, in very simple word, in social development is defined as this investing in the people. The social development is about improving the well-being of every individual in society, so that they can reach their full potential. So that's what I discussed with you about the investment. The social development is measured through in various ways, like health, education, employment, gender equity. So these are the some of the indicators now where we are able to measure about the social development. Let's talk about understanding social issues in development. Major issues in which are becoming now people are becoming vulnerable is poverty, social injustice, human rights, violence, education, health, nutrition, gender protection. All these, some of the area which are the major concern of the social issues in the contemporary society. Let's talk about the educational issues. What are the development issues mostly attached with educational issues in the development is like gender equity is one of the example. Access to various level of education. In fact, just I would like to cite my experience in Gambia. In Gambia, because it is a no, I'm not no, it's an academic discussion. I'm not accusing any community or I'm not referring any community. It is a Muslim-dominated country. So what was the problem over there was that no, up to certain ways, girls were allowed to go for education, and they were not much promoted for education. And of certain age, they were also demotivated. They were made demotivated at various level not to go for education. That is one example what I experienced. Gambia is just very small countries having 24 million population. Whereas I worked another countries like Turks and Caicos Island, what Pradeep referred during his citation. So what happening? The total population of the country is 52,000 only, and they scattered over 6 islands. And the least population out of 6 islands, the least populated area is 220 people in one island. And that island is fully equipped with everything, health, education, everything. All sector was thoroughly equipped, and they have a Canadian hospital, they have an English medium education system, British school was there. So that was, the very much, very well equipped, and girls, boys, irrespective, everybody, they were promoted for higher education. There was no discrimination. So that's what the difference I could bring out in two different countries. Though it is in Caribbean area, the Turks and Caicos Island is in Caribbean area, which is close by Mexico. But this Gambia is inside the Senegal in West Africa. If you see, the last country would be Senegal, and inside the Senegal, this is a small patch of countries called Gambia. So that was the basic difference. Let's come down to the income equity. The opportunities for financially disadvantaged group in terms of their income and access to various levels of education. The same, I'd like to also cite the example in Gambia, how the people were being discriminated in order to have higher education, so far as the gender difference is concerned. Region equity, opportunities for the people living in disadvantaged regions. Specifically, there is always a disparity in rural and urban areas. If you see the urban areas, people are more economically well off as compared to the rural area, and the accessibility. If I remember my school days and my education in rural areas, because I come from a very poverty-stricken rural village community, and in fact, I compared. One of my daughter wrote one exam. Who she got without any preparation. She got in one attempt. I wrote the same exam 3 times, but I could not able to qualify that exam. So that was how I was differentiating in practical life, how the difference was there between people coming from urban areas and rural areas. जो लोग आप समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं तो थोड़ा बीच बीच में मुझे बोलिएगा. अंग्रेजी मतलब आप लोग डिफरेंट रीजन स्टेट से है, सो आप लोगों में कुछ दिक्कत होगा तो थोड़ा सा आप आवाज दीजिएगा, और you give the sign so that I'll come down to Hindi also. We can have a discussion. Similar way, socio-cultural equity, educational opportunities of socio-cultural disadvantaged groups. In most of the cases, they are the marginalized group. In fact, you will be able to very well understand the difference. I'll cite one example. When I was working in Odisha, I was working in one of the district. I will not name the place and the place of the these things, and the district also I will not name. Once I was going through by office car on an official visit to some of the blocks. On the way, I found some students are sitting outside of the classroom. So I was really surprised, and I entered into the classroom. I entered into the school campus. It was way back in 2006. So I entered inside the school, and then I asked why the students are sitting outside. What is wrong with them? So they said, no, they are coming from underprivileged group like the community, the Dalit communities and all. So that's what they are not allowed to enter into the school. I was very disheartened. And I do not want to discuss more about what happened in the next session, what I did in order to eliminate this kind of feelings among the people. But that's what the kind of the difference I could able to experience. And it is these days I think it is slowly coming down, but still then it is prevalent in many places. Let's discuss about the next these things, essential issues and concern as regard to educational issues. In India, if you specifically see, around 23.5% children in Bihar and 18% in Andhra Pradesh have to cover more than 1 kilometer to reach at the primary school. All these data I have taken around 2007. Now it might have been, there might be some differentiation, but all these data I took it in 2007 as there was some literature available. The situation of accessibility of upper primary level students is even worse, with cases of 27 and 42% in Odisha and Bihar. So that's why also the accessibility school is sometimes also becoming difficult. More than half of the total girls enrolled are in schools with no provision of separate toilets. This is one of the biggest school Now, this thing is specifically the toilets for girl child is also is a big question mark. Odisha in 2007, Odisha faring host, that was 74%. It was there. Majority of students, despite of availability of furniture, are forced to sit on the floors. In fact, schools of the furnitures normally that we know very well, coming from rural areas, that you might have experienced and overcome all these issues. The same issues, the condition being is basically worse in case of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe children across all the states in Muslims in Bihar. Specifically, I had an opportunity to work in Bihar. There is one community is called Musar community. The condition is very worse. I have seen them way back in 2010. The condition was really very bad. I took the opportunity to visit that school at the village and I spent some time over there. But if you see in every respect, things are not by then things were not in a very good shape. And from that, I found many children moving and there here and there. They were not able to go to school. Some due to some or other reason. That's all. The lack of participation among the parents, specifically as regard to the girls, is concerns. There is a lack of participation in decision-making process and other things. Particularly taking the example of marriages, in many of the families, these marriages are mostly is being imposed. Slowly it is changing, but mostly it is considering the back the past experience. Most of the time it is being imposed. The freedom, I think the freedom is rarely, in rare cases it is being allowed if the girl is educated and people are coming from very good family backgrounds. All those things are always there. The lack of access to also manifested in terms of out of school expenditures. So the children are also rarely giving some kind of pocket money to spend their houses. In Odisha, it is very high. So coming down to the next these things, the health issues. In fact, we know about the health issues in Odisha. You might have heard one disease like Ebola, which was way back in 2014-15. It was it struck in a country called Gambia, and nearby country, all around those countries were well affected by this Ebola, and it was more or less like this COVID. Now, if you shake hand with the people, and now it's over. Then you use your hand anywhere, then you are affected. Then you have to do these things. To address those issues, we had a lot of emergency preparedness plans. We had a lot of preventive measures. Like in COVID, we are putting the water tank in front of house with a soap. Like that, we are practicing the same way it was we were practicing over there in those countries, specifically in West African countries. In that batch, that's West Africa and all around countries. Specifically, it was well accepted. This Namaste was well accepted by everybody. Second was not allowed by anybody, and everybody were appreciating the Namaste. So it was really a great experience. This thing. So ultimately, the health has also a direct association with labor productivity, which ultimately contributing to the development. So these are some of the issues of health I discussed with you. Some of the alarming facts about the health status in India, specifically the rural doctors to population ratio is comparatively lower. If you go down to the rural areas, if you see now the specialist or some kind of doctors, you will not find. In major areas it is happening. Rural-based population ratio is comparatively, rural beds population ratio is comparatively lower. For example, the number of beds available for the patient to be treated in the hospital is comparatively poor. 7 out of 10 medicines in rural areas are substandard or some counterfeit or some kind of, we get some generic or generic is okay good or some kind of duplicate. The rural population lack access to critical medicines. It is often happening in rural areas and other things. And these generic medicines are not properly marketed. Like, recently this the medicine stores have been established. But even then also the accessibility and usability of the people, those medicines are also not very, it is not going marketed well or not communicated to the people well so that they can save their money. So that's become. Then rural population travels for over 30 kilometers for medical treatment. It is happening these days. There is little change because of some modification, some change. Still then in the recent past, if you see, remember a lady, I'm forgetting the name of the lady and her husband. Her husband was carrying the dead body for 30 kilometers, I think, on her shoulder, and some extent he was carrying by shoulder, and some extent he was carrying by cycle. So that way you can remember what facilities we have as regard to address the health issues. Coming down to the nutritional issues in development, nutrition definitely this is a kind of unless until you have a nutritional food, it will be very difficult to survive. So it is ultimately contributes to the health, and it also ensures your fulfillment. The development policies as regard to nutrition issues, it was made in 1990s, and it was in threefold principles. First was economic growth, second was social security, third was development of human resources. That way, these are some of the nutritional issues were well discussed. Let me come down about little the nutrition and the relation with sustainable development. Probably you have been taught about the sustainable development goal, which has got 117 goals with 169 targets. So SDG target 2.2, which talks about all form of nutrition, including achieving by 2025 the internationally agreed targets of sustaining and wasting in children under age 5 years. So this is what the target has been made globally by 2025. This has to come down. As compared to SDGs in India, the Sustainable Development Goal Index score, Zero Hunger 2, SDG 2, which has ranges between 97 and 19 for Indian states and union territories, where the Chandigarh now tops among all the states. It has got 97 score. So this is the difference between the as regard to the implementation of SDGs in India and the achievement. The Chandigarh has scored higher as compared to other states. Nutrition status, if you will see, according to National Family Health Survey 2019 to 21, the fifth in the series, India has been no significant improvement in health and nutrition status. By this, it was seen there is no significant differences. And the latest data shows around 7.7% children are severely wasted. Around 19.3% are wasted and 35.5% are stunted. So at the same time, 3.4% children are overweight, which was 2.1% as per the NFH data. So the anemia among the children under 5 has become a significantly worse, with the current prevalence of 67.1% as compared to 58% according to NFHS 4.57 of women protective age group. So this is what the difference. These the statistics I brought before you, so that we can have a little understanding about what the nutrition status in India is on. Let's discuss about the gender issues in development. Like race, ethnicity, and class, gender is a social category shapes and establishes one's life's chance in society and development. You better understand about the difference between gender and male and female. I do not want to speak much on that. So the term gender refers to a set of roles, attributes, behaviors expected for women and men by their societies. So comparatively, if you can see the different norms or this Panchayati Raj this act, where we have tried to empower the women by giving a kind of a 33% quota. It was well being practiced in every country. The gender relations represents the ways in which the socially constructed categories of women and men are related over a wide range of social interaction within the family, community, as well as all economic, political relations in the given society. So that we are trying to mostly empower them in every sector, so that it can be the gender issues can be well addressed. And the gender relations are institutionally constructed, so that way we through institution, as I cited you the example about the Panchayati Raj and these things, so that they have been given the kind of things. Rules, norms, and practices of gender relations have been strong ideological content as because we are trying to promote and we are giving equal right to all in every respect. Gender relations are constituted in terms of relations of power and dominions. So that what is given the power in the sense they have been the gender, the woman is being or the gender is being empowered in all respect of the society so that they can equate themselves with everybody. Sex ratio as compared to the sex ratio, if you see the census of 2011, the census is 943 and the child sex ratio was 9 for 1000 male. There were 943 men's were there, females were there, and for 1000 children there were 919 girls were there. So this is what the India statistics was there as per the census. But coming down to the Kerala, the highest sex, Kerala owns the highest sex ratio. For 1000 male, there was 1084 females are available. And the lowest one is the Haryana, which has got the lowest sex ratio. For 1000 male, there was 879 females were there. So that's what the difference was there. And if you see the total population of India, around male population is going 51.96%, whereas female is coming 48.04%. So comparing this globally, the male ratio in India is what is the highest. What the database says is that the male ratio is comparatively high. So let me little discuss about issues of marginalization and exclusion. Marginalization is refers to process becoming or being made marginal, or it's a kind of a slow becoming a kind of a slow small group or small kind of small sect, which issues are rarely addressed. Individuals and groups are often ignored in or regulated to a sidelines of political debate, social negotiation, and economic bargaining. Specifically, now in simple language, if you try to understand, is marginalized. Some people are at the top, and the major group has been sidelined so that their issues are not being well addressed. Exclusion is a process through which certain segment of the populations are like disability, age, language, employment status, migrant status, HIV status, education status, skills, race, religions, and some of the critical that marginalize the and exclude the people in the sense some of the people those who are not these things, so they cannot be in certain kind of are being excluded in a different groups. The most vulnerable, marginalized, and excluded group in society are basically women, people with disabilities, minority, caste, belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, elderly. These are the because of these things. As you know, because of women, they're being marginalized, and because of their the literacy, they are not able to coming in a hand to hand in as regard to the men in the sense the society has not given that kind of status now to which we are empowering through gender. People with disabilities, they are not able to also come to lifeline. Similarly, minority, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, elderly. So those things are being well understood, and you can understand these things. The cultural issues in development is specifically culture refers to a full range of learned human behaviors patterns which include knowledge, belief, law, moral customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by men as a member of the society. In fact, that we have very well taught what the culture is. So I just wanted to bring out some of the example. Let me cite one example how this cultural issues were being these things. As you know, we are celebrating Eid in our country, but in West Africa, it is called Tobaski. So what happened in Tobaski, normally what happened, they invite us and we visit the people in their houses, and we carry certain things for them, and in exchange they also provide us good food and other things. And as you know, is dominated by Muslim communities, so beef is their major food. So that is for everything they will definitely have beef. So that way, so they serve the food to the people. What happened? One of my colleague, he asked me, give me a rum. So then he told me once, so then I couldn't understand. I thought probably he's asking me a bottle of rum. So I paid some $35 and purchased a bottle of rum. I carried that rum to his house. Then I packed it and as if we give a gift, and I gave the gifted him. So out of curiosity, that guy, he opened before everybody, all family member guests were there, and he opened that bottle and he found it's a bottle of rum. So then he was surprised. They said, Bibhuti, you don't know, we are Muslims, we never take alcohol. So it is, forbidden in our religion. So you should not give me this kind of gift. Then I said, you asked me this. So he was asking for a ram. Ram means a goat. So he was expecting that from me, but I understood he's asking for a bottle of rum. So then I gave him this. So that's what the difference. It was these things. Sometimes this also makes brings a kind of difference when you go to this. Coming down to the cultural barrier, I'll cite the example what happened. We had some, while walking in Indonesia, we had some, because there was a big earthquake and communities was thoroughly uprooted. There was no house, nothing, everything was thoroughly damaged. So what we did, we had to rehabilitate people from different groups. As you know, there are Hindus also in Indonesia. So we constructed houses for different people, because different community have a different want and different demand of kind of house. So what we did, we constructed a kind of a village for the Hindus. We constructed the houses for the Muslim groups. So while constructing, I don't know, while knowingly or non-knowing, we constructed a temple in the side of Muslim, and we constructed a mosque in the side of Hindus. I don't know, it was knowingly or unknowingly, because we all were foreigners working in that area in that emergency crisis. So it became a big, he even cry situation over there. Somehow again we had to manage those situations with various ways, then demolishing that one, modifying those things to bringing to the different structure. So that's what the experience I had while working in this thing. So that way the cultural barrier also sometimes becomes an hindrance for the development. Let me discuss about the role of developmental professionals. Based on my experience, capacity building is one of the area what I experienced joining as a development professional with various institutions or various agencies. So what we'll find, what I'll cite the example of in Gambia, we drafted the disaster management policy of that country. But disaster was a different issue, and the understanding of various people was very different, and there was a capacity gap in the country. The literacy rate was comparatively low. So that way, what we did, we tried to educate first the elected representative. It means the member of parliaments. We try to educate them on the disaster issues and what best measures we need to take so that we will be in a position to strengthen the better preparedness. So that way we try to build the capacity of elected representatives to understand the disaster and its impact, as well as what are the initiatives in order to take in order to save the lives of the people. What preparedness measures we need to have so that instead of giving the relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, so what better mitigation measures we can take so that issues can be well addressed. So that way we try to build the capacity of elected representatives. Knowledge management, I'll also cite the example of the same. We try to then, after educating the elected representatives, we try to educate other sectors like the government senior officials, like we called principal secretaries in our area, but they called it permanent secretaries. So we invited them for a small interaction and we try to educate them in that area. And you produce some literatures with regard to disaster and what are the preventive measures, what are the preparedness initiatives has to be taken so that the issues can be well addressed by the people themselves with their participation. So that way we have created some literatures for all the sectors like the academia, like the elected, the government officials, the school teachers. So that we try to build their knowledge in the area of disaster management. Coming down to the advocacy, what we did in Eastern Caribbean region, where I was working in Turks and Caicos Island, there we created a kind of a ministerial conference. We invited all the ministers of all the Caribbean areas, like countries like Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, all the countries in Caribbean area. We invited them and we advocated about them about the social protection. The social protection measures, what are the supports we can provide, we can incorporate with the existing government programs so that it will be help us to invest less in case of there is a disaster, to less invest in emergency response. So that way we advocated before the elected representatives, the member of parliaments invited them to one place. It's called Talks and Caicos Island. We just try to discuss and orient them and discuss to what are the things we need to do as regard to social protection initiative. It is called shock responsive social protection. In case of shock, in case of any disaster, what responsive protection measures we need to take so that we are investing less in emergency response. So those kind of things we did. Then give people way to voice their opinion, to invite the people, and we try to consider we try to promote the people so that they come out with their opinion. Generate awareness about the local and global issues among the people so that they can understand. Sharing some different case studies, how the preparedness was, like this, the disaster preparedness in India is an example for many countries. They were learning from it, how they were managing emergency response, how they were supporting this. ILA was one of the examples which was broadcasted everywhere in many countries. I have seen it in Caribbean also. They help local people take united actions, bringing to the community together so that they can join together in order to take action against any kind of a disaster what they are experiencing, on any kind of social issues what they are experiencing. Research existing projects and aimed at similar problems. So some research need to be conducted so that the existing problems can be well addressed. So then these are some of the reference. Thank you. I think I tried to bring out and summarize the entire things with a very stipulated time period so that we have ample of time to discuss on the issues in more strategic way. Thank you everybody. Over to Pradeep.
Thank you so much, sir, for a concise presentation, and you have covered a lot of information regarding development issues in India. And basically, the purpose of our this lecture series is to highlight all the issues that is prevalent in India, and what can be the mechanism, or what can be the solution to that issues. And being a development professional, it is all our responsibility to take care of all these issues to ensure SDG goal, Agenda 2030, or to accelerate the rate of development of India.
Yeah.
And now the floor is open for discussion, and we have with us Ms. Abha Misra, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Madam, namaskar.
Namaskar, Vibhuti. Namaskar, Pradeep.
It is our pleasure to ma'am to have you currently for our audience. Actually, Abha ma'am is currently working as head of office UNDP Odisha, and she is a renowned development professional, and she has as well as anthropologist also.
She was my supervisor also.
Root cause of the issue. And she has that combination of understanding the issue and giving the solution to the issues. And she also deliver one lecture regarding the SDG. Ma'am, we'll request you to actually, as a highly experienced development professional, please contribute something to the development issue in India. And being a development professional, what should be our role?
I think an excellent presentation by Vibhuti. I think he brought up a lot of issues. And also he's highlighted where are the, where we can position ourselves, starting from capacity building to documentation, to advocacy, to writing also, researching. There are a lot of areas where as development professional or social workers we need to do. And at every level, as he has rightly mentioned, that at the highest level, started from the parliamentarians or the legislatures, you have to work till the community level. So your role is you have to pick and choose what your role you want to do, and subsequently, mold yourself, train yourself, skill yourself to take it up. Uh, Issues have been very well highlighted by Vibhuti, and I think these series also are showcasing us that where all the gaps are, the challenges are, and I would like to congratulate Gyanalok and everybody who works here. And thank you for such a wonderful introduction, Pradeep and Vibhuti. Good to hear all the experience you have been gaining in the African countries. I joined it only to listen to whatever time I had to listen to your experiences of Africa, because that's something which we don't get. Thank you so much for it. Over to you, Pradeep.
thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, sir, for your information, I will let you know. Actually, regarding this Saturday lecture series, some people are the inspiration behind this. Professor Asutosh Pradhan, Miss Abha Misra, Dr. Simanchal Ranjit. Some people are really these people are the inspiration for which actually this lecture series is going very smoothly. So I should thank them all for giving this idea and and helping me to continue this lecture series. We have with us also Dr. Simanchal Ranjit sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, Pradeep, I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Good
Dr.
evening.
Simanchal Ranjit is basically he has multiple experience. Like initially he was a development professional, and first and foremost, I should say he completed his MSW from NISWAS, and after that he did his PhD in social work from Utkal University. And initially he was a development professional. After that he was a teacher, and indeed he's my teacher also. And subsequently currently he is practicing law in Odisha High Court. He has multiple experience. Sir, how do you see actually the challenges of development, and what is your opinion to address this issue as a development professional?
Thank you, Pradeep and Mr. Bibhuti Gadanayak for your illuminating lecture, highlighting the development issues. Before that, Ms. Ava Mishra Madam also appreciated that how you have highlighted the issues of development. Basically, I have shifted my focus from the social work practitioner as a lecturer or as a development practitioner to advocacy since last 10 years, almost 7-8 years. Well, I look at from a distance place how I see social development. And I would be going with the statement from Mr. Gadanayak when he began saying a very beautiful thing that development is an investment in people. From here, we can go for a little larger discussion on investment in people. When we talk about investment, it all together takes us the development professional to a different direction from a charity or welfareisty or altruistic or whatever you can talk about doing the work for the people. But when you talk about an investment, Ava Mishra Madam also will agree with me that we talk about a business. When we talk about an investment, that means you think about an interest. you think about a return from there. When Mr. Gadanayak is talking about development is an investment in people, definitely we are thinking of some return from there. And very rightly, he pointed out that if you invest $1, then there has to be $6 in return. So my interest will be when I look at from a policy perspective or an advocate fighting in the court of law, where I have although I was working very much with what Mr. Gadanayak was saying, I was also in Bihar for 2 years. You were in 2010, I was in 2007, and also I have worked with that Musahar community. And for 2 years with the World Vision, I was working there. I have seen the things, the issues you have highlighted here. But my submission would be, or maybe some of the experienced persons present in this forum, to highlight that what kind of investment we are talking about. The model of investment or the development we are talking about at present is a right way, directed, or what is there actually which is not bringing us that $6 output or outcome from $1 investment. That is the one important thing. I'm very much concerned about it. The other thing I would like to hear from some of you development practitioner development workers or development professionals is that, let's see the investment, then who is going to invest? Is it the government, or to what proportion, to what level government is going to invest? And what is the private sector is to do? And let's say the freelancers or the international organizations, what our madam is representing you, international organizations, NGOs. Actually, who are the investors? Whether they are really investing or what? Why? If they are investing, if you are a company man, you are a businessman, you are running a company. If you are investing, definitely you will be thinking of the return. But the investment that is being made either by the state or the private sector or by the society, civil society, or international, national organizations, what is their model? Whether they are successful, and out of your experience, have you ever invested $1 and you have returned the $6 kind of experience? Yes, here was this, these issues were there, and I see in the social development sector, what do we do? Our investment is through the programs and schemes, and that is being implemented in the field. And then after the program is implemented, we go for the outcome evaluation or input monitoring, or these are all the part of your program management cycle that we know. So maybe I would be a little more interested to hear from Mr. Bibhuti Gadanayak that do you have such experience throughout your maybe 15 years, 20 years, 30 years of development sector experience where you thought that, yes, here in the health sector or in the education sector or disaster management sector or employment sector, unemployment sector, or caste equality or gender equality sector, gender issues, caste issues, somewhere you invested $1 kind of investment as a social development professional, and you thought that at least not $6, at least 1.5 or $2 return you have got. Probably in this material things when we come up with, and probably in development sectors we talk, those things are the best practices, if I understand. So if such issues are there, that could be highlighted. If Mr. Gadanayak has some kind of experience on that, and especially highlighting that the investment that who should be doing, and then the people in general, or who are those people on which we want to make an investment, whether they are selected, they are elected, or how they are being categorized. Maybe these are some of the basic issues probably we need to discuss so that some policy directives on this matter could be drawn out. Thank you, Pradeep. And Mr. Gadanayak, will you please highlight this?
Thank you. Shall I listen something, some others? I will answer the question, or let me answer, then others can come in.
No, sir, you
Okay.
answer this question. After that, we can request others for their question.
We have, as regard to investing $1 and saving $6, we have number of experience in our country itself, in our state itself. See the example of super cyclone 99. How many lives we lost? It was more than 10,000. Coming down to similar kind of cyclones we had. ILA or some others we experienced in the recent past. See the death toll, it has come down to the zero level. So this is how it comes. It is an investment. We implemented a program called Disaster Risk Management Program all around India, in some of the states, identified states in India, where Odisha was one among them. See, our preparedness by investment, by preparedness by government, we implemented through by DRM program by Government of India, jointly with the UNDP. Then we implemented also Odisha State Disaster Mitigation Program by Red Cross. So all those things enabled us, that investment was made by government, enabled us to save the lives and properties in our country. Also, I'll cite the similar example in Caribbean, in the same country where I worked, in both the country I worked in Turks and Caicos Island and in Barbados. In Turks and Caicos Island, because here we call cyclone, there they called it hurricane. So what happened? They had a hurricane a year back in 2018. There were many damages were in that place. There was no food, there was nothing. Country was in a very bad shape. Only foodstuffs came from US, and that only helped save the lives of the people. We brought so many ships, food came from US, that only saved the lives of the people. Subsequently, we had another hurricane, and we didn't want so much of things from others. Rather, we were more prepared, and that preparedness which was made at the house level, it was invested by the house owner, and the preparedness made at the national level, it was invested by government. House level, in the sense how they will save their house, they were putting different kind of doors, which is the wind, which is the hurricane friendly. It will make no damage in case of those kind of windows are installed in front of their house. So that was one of the technique which was invested by the house owner. Subsequently, at the national level, saving the lives of people, constructing multi-purpose cyclone shelters, all those things were being done by the government. So basically, it is at the government at the forefront who would be investing through various groups like elected representative is one, by participation of the multi-stakeholders, so that we can ensure the lives and property of the people. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Semanchal.
All right, that's fine. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, two things Abha ma'am and Simanchal sir highlighted. One thing is leading the leader is the basic role of the development workers, as rightly highlighted by Abha ma'am, and the same thing also you have presented in your presentation. Since all leaders should be motivated, and leading them can bring a lot of change, like teaching the parliamentarian, as you told. And second thing, investing on
Pradeep,
people. Yes, sir.
just before you go forward, a small clarification. Do we have any difference between a development professional and a social worker, professional social worker?
Sir, is this question to me or it is to our
Maybe
speaker?
to anybody, but because
I think,
I
sir,
struggle to
this-
understand till then.
No, sir, we have Professor Asutosh Pradhan. I think he is the right person to answer this question. Sir, Professor Pradhan is working as a professor at Central University, Himachal Pradesh. Over to you, sir.
नमस्कार सभी को.
Sir, namaskar.
Namaskar. See, this is only an academic debate. When we try to distinguish between two different concepts, these are basically concepts. Anybody can be a development professional. An engineer also, who participates or gives his services or her services for the development of the country or a particular region or particular society. He or she also contribute, or they contribute to the development. And when we say that a social worker, professional social worker, then he or she has certain specific skills, knowledge, where the intervention, as all of us know, that it could be intervention at the individual level, the group level, and the community level. And more we are into relationships, relationship building, managing relationships, and in the process, we can also contribute to development. Of course, there is a much more broader contribution of professional social workers, because we also teach or read about social development, community development, tribal development, which goes beyond individuals, groups, and communities. And it could be also as to how we get involved in managing human resources when there is a multidisciplinary team of people working in projects or programs. So we could be good managers of people. So managing human resources also in a development process or in a development project or program, that is also very important, because a lot of conflicts could happen. So basically speaking, as case managers, I'm using technical terms, as case managers, we are into relationship building um, than directly contributing as engineers or doctors or others who can and would contribute. But we do have an important role to play. But rest of the people, rest of the professionals, and even non-professionals, they also can be development professionals. Thank you.
Himanchal sir, do you want to contribute anything?
It's nothing to disagree about it, but I'm a bit confused, and the dichotomy here is that when you go to the professional field, and then you are never considered as a professional social worker. I think development professional has overshadowed the identity of social work. Maybe that is my observation. I may be right or wrong, but for advertisement or for any region, maybe the organizations those who are there, Mr. Abha, Mr. Madam also is there. I think social work professional term is not being popularized. Everybody, irrespective of their maybe MBA or HR manager or any department, maybe sociology, any disciplines, they are all part of the any intervention or any kind of program or implementation whereby they are identified as a development professional. And the other thing also, I also find that the MSWs or those who are in the field of social work, they have completed having their degrees. They never identify themselves as a social worker. They are writing in their resume or CVs as a development professional. So I think the larger concept or the identity has come up where social workers are also becoming part of it. And the development, where Professor Asutosh says that either engineer or any other departments or any other stream, any other professionals, if they are working or investment, according to Mr. Gadanayak's statement, or the term that investment in the people, they all call themselves as development professional. So that was my observation, that whether they are having that, even if in the organization, whether they identify themselves as a professional social worker, or they love to call themselves as development professional. In my view, that development professional has overshadowed the other social sector professions. That was my observation. Nothing to disagree about. Pradeep.
See, the problem with us, professional social workers, is that because of a lack in knowledge, somewhere we lack in knowledge, somewhere we lack in skills. As a result, we also lack in confidence. Because we lack in confidence, and because we are not able to upscale our skills and our knowledge base, somewhere something is wrong at the institutional level. Either the grooming is not proper, the institutional frameworks are not proper. It would be very sad to say, and most of us are aware that people get a paper degree, but they do not actually get knowledge and skills. So with a paper degree, they themselves know. They have never attended the college or the classes, and they themselves know that they have a degree simply to qualify for some examination or to showcase that they are a professional, but they themselves would call that they are less a professional social worker and more a development professional. So it has nothing to do with the degree as such, but it is a lack in knowledge and lack in skills, lack in basic understanding as to how to approach a problem or an issue, and how to fix a problem or an issue, how to work in collaboration with other development professionals. Because of this lack of confidence in our own selves, we try to identify ourselves more as a development professional than as a professional social worker. This is one. The other is that somehow, because the training in social work has been fast degrading, and also students and teachers alike are not somewhat sincere or committed towards this profession. We are not able to also mobilize ourselves. When we make a reference to corporate social responsibility, there is nothing corporate about it actually. It is to do with community development and working closely with people and into health, education, how to manage all these issues on the ground. So, so it is less of corporate affairs and corporate governance than more of being with the people and working with the people and trying to understand what are the issues that people are facing. You cannot be in the corporate offices and get a feel about what are the issues people are facing. So professional social workers actually are better prepared, but somehow the corporate sector is full of MBA graduates and engineering graduates. So they would elbow you out. So since we are not there in the corporate offices, we cannot also advocate for our own people. And those who are there, they themselves would not allow their own brethren to enter in also, because they would feel threatened, and that is how we are not able to do anything that would do our profession any good. So my appeal to most of the people who are here, who are actually either in distance education, doing their education in social work, or those who are doing a regular degree, they should focus more on their studies and giving themselves experience and exposure. And I'm sure Pradeep's initiatives and efforts which he is making to get together so many professionals who are of experience. I'm sure, except for one or two people who are themselves development professionals, rest of them are professional social workers, and many of them I have either worked with them or I have taught them. So I am sure everybody would appreciate this fact that we have good people, highly skilled people, and who have achieved a lot in life and established themselves as professional social workers and have made a mark in this particular sector or the development sector. Thank you.
Pradeep,
If I may come in.
yeah, please.
Yes, ma'am.
No, Sivanshu sir and Ashutosh sir, I completely agree with you both. And my learning, I'm not a social worker or a professional in that particular sense. I am an anthropologist. And when I look back to my 32 years of experience and meeting a lot of people, what I find in the whole social, what Ashutosh sir has rightly, hit the nail on the head, is that somewhere we are not as social workers, we do not take pride in ourselves. One. The second thing is because a lot of professionals have started becoming a part of the social work network. Even if after getting a degree, they want to do a social work additional degree, uh, that also limits the pure social worker. The third thing which I find is very interesting is also, the branches which are coming up. It's, like the agri business or the rural management or, courses like that, community management. These courses also, uh, are branching out this whole social work, and they are bringing that specialization, uh, which in today's world where we don't want uh, a holistic person but a specialized person. And Ashutosh sir, I agree with you 100%. Social worker, many of them when I interview are very good, but they lack the basic skills which is very much required today: speaking, presentations, and writing. And if these things are taken care of, I think nobody can beat them in the way they can bring about a change in the community level.
Yes, Pradeep.
Yes, sir.
Actually, both Madam Abha Mishra and Professor Asutosh provoked me to put a simple question to Mr. Bibhuti Gadanayak. Am I audible, Pradeep?
Yes, yes, you are audible, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Uh, the basic thing now I'm trying to understand will be from Mr. Gadanayak is, do you recommend the role of a development professional and the role of a professional social worker? If such is the case, what the thing is that what I find from this discussion from both Professor Ashutosh and Ms. Ava Mishra Madam, that two things are required: the management and then the development. Management, I think professional social workers, what I was also a lecturer in the college, they're very good. I mean, there is a lack of skills. I agree with both of them. Skill of writing, skills of presentation, skills of analyzing. When you work as a development worker as such, relationship building, working with the individual, working with the community, working with the groups, when make a program planning in the field level, make an assessment of an issue. When you talk a problem of a social worker in the community level, they will look at the problem. But when we talk about the same thing from an MBA professional, you will look at the managerial perspective. So these are basics are different. Orientation is skill. One is skill based. Management is, my understanding is, of course, Professor Mr. Bibhuti Gadanayak will speak on this. But my understanding is that managerial professionals, those who are coming from the other sectors, MBA and the other professions, apart from the social work professionals, they are skill based. The language, the skill of speaking skill and presentation skills, writing skills, whereas social workers are coming very much grassrooted and then analyzing, understanding the issues at the individual level, community level, from caste, class, poverty, different angle environment. They have a deep rooted understanding. The orientation is given to the social workers. Probably these are not matching together. One is becoming a corporate type of behavior. The other one is a very common man with the language that the identity social worker means as a jhula pakad ke wo khadi pehnne wala. The identity, you look at the perspective, the identity or the kind of mindset it is coming to our mind. So probably what do you think about Mr. Bibhuti Gadanayak about this role of development social workers? Will it be a development professionals and role of a professional social workers? Will it be a different roles or do you think it will be the same role? Your observation, Mr. Bibhuti.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ranjit. In
Before
fact, my
bef- before Vibhuti speaks, I have it would be a related thing. I have a question for both of you, Vibhuti and also Mr. Ranjit. See, both of you belong to a specialized sector. One is a serving lawyer, and the other is a professional working the field of disaster and disaster management, disaster mitigation, whatever. See, both of you might have branched out to a specialized area, and you might have taken a separate degree and sincerely pursued that. So in social work also we teach about social legislations, and you might have felt that if you want to excel, a law degree is essential, and you might have pursued that, and you might have done that sincerely, because of which you may be thinking that you are doing a much better job, and you can now give justice to people in a much more better way because of your grounding in society, social issues, the social dynamics, community dynamics that exist. And similarly, Bibhuti might have also found that his specialized knowledge and specialized exposure in the field of disaster, I think, took him to such heights that all of us are proud of. So, as a teacher, I'm proud of both of you. Even if I have taught to one and not taught to the other, still as a teacher, I feel proud that both of you have excelled in your own ways, in your own disciplines. But the rootedness in social work definitely might have helped you, but it has helped you further in your career when you branched out to a particular specialization. My feeling always in the past 35 years was that we have done a disservice to our own profession by not specializing also beyond 2 years. Also within the 2 years also we could have specialized, so that whoever has some affinity to a particular specialization, they could have pursued it in that particular specialization and might have excelled in that particular branch. So your views, both of you can have your own views in this regard.
Thank you, sir. So whatever education I had after my master's in the MSW, I think the basic was this, the principles of social work enabled me to move further. Because, see all this principle we have used in every part of these things now in my professional life. Prior to joining in, going for a higher education in Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok, I was working here with UNDP, and Abha ma'am has witnessed that experience as because she was my supervisor. So those principles were very much helpful to us in order to work over here. But to go for higher ups, I had specialized knowledge so that it will help me to to do better and grow in professionally and going little beyond. So basically, the professional social work has helped us in a very different way. But apart from that, I would just like to bring out, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but let me share my feelings. I think we need some modifications in our syllabus which would enable us to, because when I studied in Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand, the way it was taught, somebody would be becoming a good debater, good presenter, good writer, because the process was like that. It was not, nobody was teaching us, you do this, you do that, or you don't do, or do. The way they grew most, the syllabus, the methodologies was like that. So it enabled us, which is beyond the subject. It was not, disaster management or climate change, rather it was all skills. It was the skills were part of kind of the curriculum. So that way, I think if we can think of little modifying the existing syllabus in a more different way, which will enable the skill and which will bring change and enhance the writing skill, presenting yourself at the international level and in a global level in a more strategic way. So I think that we need to work on that. But one thing I learned, everybody can be a development professional, but everybody cannot be a social work professional unless until you have the degree or training. That's what I learned throughout the experience. The kind of things we are bringing to our profession, it is really something different. I have written so many documents, so many policy papers, but in the recent past I did analyze a report on child risk impact analysis in the country like Niger. It was really unique, and I was thoroughly appreciated by the regional head, the country representative, my immediate supervisor. It was, the total document was in 138 pages. I brought it to 6 pages. The entire thing I did, but it was well appreciated how the government would be understanding and implementing and utilizing these papers in a more in a systematic way. That was my deliberation as explained, well explained. So that way, I would suggest this kind of things. I don't know, Simanchal may add something more beyond my experience. Thank you.
Sir, actually,
See,
what Simanchal sir wanted to ask, basically two things.
Okay, that's fine, Pradeep. That's fine. He, in his own way, he
No, sir, it is
responded.
also, it leads to my question also. I have one question in connection with you.
So please, maybe let me put my observation. Thereafter, probably, I think what Professor Asutosh has raised a very basic thing and very fundamental thing. I think it's a thought-provoking thing that he has put. In fact, if you agree or you don't agree with me, but I have a statement, very strong statement to make, that India has not given justice to social work profession. The point I'm making is that if it was a profession, I would not have shifted myself to advocacy. That's the very, very practically I'm speaking. Social work is a confusing profession. It has confused everybody. It has confused the politician. It has confused the policymakers. It has confused all of us here present, development professionals, or whatever you. And another tragedy is happening if you very closely watch this profession. It is getting assimilated with development professionals, development professions. It is slowly losing its identity, only in the name of that it doesn't have the skill of writing, presenting, and then speaking, and then writing a project proposals or managerial skills. And because of that, but that is not social work. Social work is, even I don't like the word investment. That is a development professional's word. We don't invest, we help the people to help themselves. The word is help. Who are we? It is not a business, that people are not business. How can you use the word investment? I'm sorry. These are the confusing things we lack, probably the academicians and the development professionals, and strong advocacy on this profession. None of us are presenting. We are simply a new word is coming and we getting assimilated and we lose our own identity. Probably what Mr. Gadanayak said, we lack these skills, and these are all very important. Skills of marketing, preparing your resume and presenting yourself the way, and then but that is not social work is all about. Social work it's about helping the people to help themselves. I think Stroups or Fred Lander said very, very, very categorically, you help. It's a helping profession. If I understand the definitions, what the giants and the renowned professors in social work internationally, they have defined it. Of course, 2001 definition and the latest definition 2013 speaks about different thing. Problem is that, again, I repeat, the academicians, development professional workers, social workers in India have not given justice to social work. Therefore, till now, we are not able to unanimously define what is social work is today in India. That's a big tragedy. And we are confused with development professions and then the other things. So,
Sir, I agree with you, Sivanchal sir. I agree with you. The problem has also become is all these social workers are also looking at the whole development professionals, uh, have, that helping nature has is not uh, getting inculcated like that. So we are treating even the social work for which we are studying as a profession. Yes, it is to a certain extent profession, but as you rightly said, it is all about helping people, not you know uh, making a change as we perceive, but supporting them to change as they perceive. 100% I agree with you.
Madam, I will again add to that. See, development is not only a social worker can do. It's a multifarious approach. Social worker has its own role. Anthropologist has its own role. A sociologist has its own role. A HR manager or MBA person has got its own role. So its development is holistic and everybody has to contribute. But you can give see, for example, in the medicine profession, there is a eye specialist, there is a dentist, there is a, the cardiologist, there is different areas. So one cannot deal with everything. So somebody is economist to be required for the development. Economic factor is required. Social work has got its own areas. Economist has, anthropologist has got its own area. Sociologist has got on its own area. But it's not about all development professionals. It's a vague term that only development professional means what? I'm a development professional. Can I bring the change in the people? No, I need some other expert knowledges. So similarly, I'm an advocate. Can I do all the branches of law, argue in the court of law? No, I have some areas. So my point is that social work and development professionals should have its own position in the society, in the organizations. Rather, we call that it is an investment or it is just doing or making or giving benefits to the people. Rather, a different sociologist can see a problem in sociological perspective. An anthropologist can see a problem in anthropological perspective. A social worker can see the problem, and also accordingly they can give their own strategy or planning. We should not be undermining that social worker have less of this and more of that, or this profession has got more of this, less of that. But I think every discipline or branches of study or so-called the development professionals or profession in different areas should contribute. But maybe because of our unprofessional practices in the organizations, we want to use a person for all the works. That means if we hire a person, he has to give the economic input, he has to give the managerial input, he has to give the problem solving input, he has to give the strategic input, he has to give the problem areas understanding, he has to give in the relationship management input. So probably that is the reason I'm making that social work as a profession in the country has not been given its due respect. Also the academicians are Professor Nadkarni and Jacob, Professor Siddiqui, all the whatever the written, they did the write-up and all, it is not that much contributing to the schools of social work and social work education in the country. Therefore, now the time has come. Now the marketing area, the policies are market driven, online marketing. Everybody needs to sell the skills. Now we have shifted from education-based education to skill-based education. That's the national policy also is talking about. So therefore, probably somewhere I think Professor Ashutosh, Madam Abha, and then Bibhuti Gadanayak, that we should not change the basic character of social work profession. We should protect the identity of social work, not swayed away or overshadowed by other development professions. Rather, improve whatever the character of social work is all about instead of borrowing too much from other professions. That is, the skills could be earned as per the, for example, after MSW, I want to be a monitoring specialist. So I want to go for a study or make extra courses on monitoring and evaluation, so that I can excel myself in that area. So the education as such should not be tampered with, maybe no, fascinated by or no, induced by or so-called the market debate, the job-based, knowledge-based to change the basic character of social work. Otherwise, there will be no difference between a sociologist and a social worker. I think this is my view, Pradeep. Too much if we talk, then others will be feeling bored about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
That
sir.
is an
Actually, sir,
observation. That is an observation by Dr. Sagarika Shah. I think if she speaks on her own behalf, it would be better.
ma'am,
Dr.
can you
Sagarika, if
please?
she is there.
Yes. Actually, I was going to read that message.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
you are audible.
Okay. Sir, thank you, Dr. Ranjit sir. You are very right. But I have also pointed out in my chat box that in our state, okay, you know everything. I think that in our state, even non-social workers are also taking classes of social work subjects, and also they are entering into our field without our acknowledgement and without asking. They are entering into a field and doing development work and every other work. Means the person who is a sociologist, who is reading or completed various degrees from economics or from political science background or from management background, they are coming and entering into our field. This position is very bad in our state. So can you suggest how we will improve that thing? Because there is a lot of requirement of advocacy. If also there is a problem that we social workers doesn't have a consolidated idea of what will be our area or in which area we can work. So people are taking these advantages and lot of other people are coming. That for example, if a physics honors cannot teach social work, how can a social workers also cannot teach physics? But we can see some. I can give one example also. There is a national level institute in West Bengal. I don't want to name it, but mathematics teacher is the head of the department of the social work department. How can you judge this thing? And this is happening in most of the institution and as well as in universities also. So how we will change this one?
See, this is the academical or academic institutions, and the university is the authority.
Yeah.
And then the faculty details when the affiliated college or institute or department is giving to the university must write the degree of the guest faculty or regular faculties. They actually social workers or the social work professionals or those who are degree dharis of social work profession in the country have abandoned this profession. I mean, this social work profession has been orphanized. They have pushed to the orphanage. That's the
Yes,
tragedy in the because of money. Because if I get some other degree, then my salary will be doubled. For example, I'm getting 20,000 rupees. I do another MA in HR management or some other disaster management, some other course, then my salary will be 40,000 rupees. So your identity as a social worker is gone. You are hired for your disaster management or some other extra MA or whatever degree you have qualified that. So that is the thing. Social work has become a business oriented course now. No qualified I mean teachers are there. Those who are qualified, they are getting some international jobs or in the organizations, and they leave and then do that. But for you, I suggest that the students and the faculty members in the institution should write to the principal, to the officers or the in charge persons in the university that such economical students from economics, political science, and other social disciplines, even the science background, how can they teach social work as a profession in our institution? So we object to that. And this is unnecessary intrusion from other disciplines to social work profession. And you are very right. The students have all the authority and right to write to the dean or the principal of the college, or for that matter, a copy to the vice principal, vice chancellor also in the state. So how can a sociologist will go and teach mathematics? Similarly, how can an economist can come and talk to you about social work as a profession? Social work as a profession has got its own identity. Although we
Yes.
don't give justice, again, I repeat, in the country, and it has not been recognized, because of some confusing, because it is called social work is a confusing profession. So probably that is the reason it has confused everybody, and we are unable to establish our own identity in the academic domain or in the study curriculum. That is the reason our pioneers in social work, K.K. Jacob and Professor Nadkarni, and then the other professionals, those who were in the Professor Siddiqui, and then Professor Verma from Andhra University, former Vice Chancellor. I feel that why didn't they work on this? So probably these are the reasons still that is happening. So for you, it's better that you write to the universities and then.
Sir, can I say something, sir? Sir, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sir. That is a fact that in all the maximum universities in the government sector, also government universities, this is the situation. Now, how many letters we will write, and the most saddest thing is that only 1% or the 2%, if we write a letter, there is no impact. People have a fear that how we if we write, we will maybe something happen, maybe our job will go, because in the private sector there is no security for job, and the people who are in the government institutions, they actually don't want to do anything. Is they are getting, sir, sorry to say, but they are getting a good lump sum salary, and they don't have any grudge or any kind of interest for making this subject have a body or a identity. They are thinking that if we convert social work into a management or any other kind of practice, it will be fine. So it is from the higher authorities coming this thing. So can we do an impact from the central level? Can we have a letter from all the states? We jointly do something for the. I am telling you, not only you, sir, all the fraternity of the social work. Because if we all have to do, then something will happen. Because in our state, there is in the medical sector, there are a lot of vacancies, but some of the hospitals are hiring people from sociology or other backgrounds in the name of social work. I think you have seen the vacancies that if there is a post or there is any advertisement of any vacancy, it is written here that master degree in social work / sociology / management / psychology / why slash? Why not only social work? So if we have to compete with other sector people, I don't know psychology, I don't know sociology, I cannot teach other subjects, so or I cannot practice other subjects. So why we will compete with other subjects? Because sociology, if you see the College Service Commission, the sociology fraternity are not taking any social work people. They are not taking any social work faculty. What they are saying, no, social work people cannot teach sociology. So how sociology people will teach social work? It is a totally different from one to another. But it is happening. So this means my observation, sir. Just I have to add all these things because all these conversations are very interesting. So I interrupted you, and I want to say all these things that it is happening in our state and maybe in other states also. I think you all people know. So this is a problem, sir. And even if people are doing something, there are a lot of other people who are getting or are creating obstacles so that we cannot write a paper on social work, so that we cannot write a book on social work, and we don't have any good publishers also to publish all these things. So if we don't have our own literature, means you see, we don't have any literature in Bengali. Our state, we have above 1 lakh and above students are reading in Bengali, social work in Bengali, but we don't have any literature. We are borrowing literature from Bangladesh. So that is the point. So if we have to do, sir, we so many people are there. I think maybe you like my point or maybe you dislike my point. But the fact is that If we don't have to make that identity of the social work, then in the future this profession or this subject will lose everything. People are not means identifying us as a social worker. Means any political party person is saying that we are doing social work, they are thinking that okay, social work is just like a charity, or anyone can do. What is the need of requirement to study, to read, or have a degree on that? So there is a lot of confusion related to this.
Actually, Dr. Sagarika will conduct. Actually, I think it is much important for us to conduct special series on that, like academic and professional issues of social worker. Since our topic of today's lecture was something different, actually we had a lot of discussion on that. Professional social work. Again, we should actually come to our point, and definitely we will organize special lecture on that issues, academic issues and professional issues of professional social worker.
Okay,
Now over
sir.
to
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
I'm sure we will organize this program and
Sorry, sir, if I interrupted you. Sorry for
No,
that.
Dr. Sagarika's observations are well taken, and definitely all of us will come together to work in this direction. In our own states, I am in Himachal, I'll work in my own state, and I belong to Odisha. I also will contribute actively in my own state in Odisha, my home state in Odisha. All of us will have to come together and jointly work.
sure, sir.
Yes.
We
Thank
will
you, sir.
organize a
Pradeep,
consultation on that actually.
Pradeep, one sentence to Dr. Sagarika's. See, the basic things would have been addressed by your issues you have raised is that there are different character when you are maybe teaching social work. There are different character of a profession. One among many characters of a profession is professional organization. We don't have national level or we don't have professional organization. For example, in our profession now I'm practicing law, we have bar association. We have All India Bar Council of India, we have All India Medical Associations. So they protect their profession. They never allow other profession to hijack them, and also we don't have national level professional organization for social work as a profession. That is one big lacking. Professor Nadkarni was trying from different zone. I think Professor Asutosh and myself, we had attended that. I don't know after her retirement what happened. She did not take it forward. So these are the basic thing characters are lacking. That is the reason we are unable to make some lobby or pressurize the university to protect the interest and identity and character of social work profession. What Pradeep is saying that he has a different a topic on this. Maybe that time you can discuss larger. Literature part is you are very much right.
Yes.
Thank you,
Actually,
sir.
sir, one question to Bibhuti sir. Actually, how do you see, since you have a lot of experience with the different countries, how do you see and what is your knowledge and experience about professional social work or development worker in other countries and in India?
Thank you, brother. The social work profession is not limited to this no 6 methods, though it is we have to work in that now abiding by 6 methods. But somebody cannot be now within a limited area. They can work in plan, policy, strategy, corporate house. There are a lot of scopes in this area. What I am experiencing in the due course of time, I think the syllabus has little change than what I was taught way back in 1995. And we need to little modify the skill set of the subject presentation and the modalities, so that it will make somebody more smarter and to establish his though we have ownership, but it will be more strategic and more systematic way to have it. So that's what I am experiencing after reading in different universities, teaching, working. Subject, okay, syllabus we do not need much change, but we need to add some skill set, which will be ultimately help somebody, a professional, to prove himself he is absolutely a professional. Because this issue was well raised by our man. They are lacking part of presentation, writing, all those things. So was becoming a some thing. So that way we need to have some modification in order to bring change in the skill sets. Thank you. Over to Pradeep.
Thank you, sir. Actually, Hruday Pradhan, he has raised his hand. Want to ask anything?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, जैसे मैं अभी
Please introduce yourself first, then ask you.
sir, I am Utkal Pradhan, MSW second year student from NIS. सर जैसे मैं लास्ट 1 आवर हो गया जो सब मतलब डिस्कशन सर सुनना था, मैं कहीं ना कहीं मेरे को ही देख रहा था मेरा फ्यूचर। जैसे कि सर मतलब विभूति गणनायक सर, सीमांचल सर, मतलब सो अपने अपने जगह पे अपने आप को एस्टेब्लिश कर चुके हैं, और वो जो अभी बता रहे हैं वो हमारे फ्यूचर के लिए बता रहे हैं। हमारे स्टूडेंट का फ्यूचर कैसे सिक्योर होगा। एमएसडब्ल्यू सीमांचल सर बोले कि हमें लॉबी करना पड़ेगा आगे। तो मैं जैसे देख रहा हूँ कि अगर हम जल्दी इसको शुरू करते हैं, क्योंकि अभी हमारा जो एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर है धर्मेंद्र प्रधान, और उनका भी कुछ सपोर्ट है, मतलब हम जैसे स्टूडेंट लोग भी यूनियन करेंगे, मतलब स्पेशली एमएसडब्ल्यू का, और जैसे आप जैसे गाइड करेंगे तो हम कहीं ना कहीं जल्दी उसको मतलब हमारा जो टारगेट है उसको अचीव कर पाएंगे। जैसे अगर सोशल वर्क जो स्टडी है, जैसे सागरिका मैडम बोल रहे थे कि सोशल वर्क स्लैश सोशियोलॉजी स्लैश रहते हैं, वो सब हटाने के लिए अगर कहीं मिनिस्ट्री का भी रोल रहेगा तो हम इसको जल्दी कर पाएंगे। तो अगर इस दिसंबर के अंदर तो, और हमारे जो स्टूडेंट है हम सब मिलेंगे आगे, तो इसको हम हमारा फ्यूचर को सेव करने के लिए भी आगे बढ़ेंगे। तो इसमें सर जल्दी हम कुछ कर पाएंगे तो बहुत अच्छा रहेगा।
Hruday, actually, just I want to respond to your answer, question before Bibhuti sir will respond. Actually, recently we had a meeting of Odisha Professional Social Workers Association. What exactly you are talking about to bring together for our issues, to address our issues, or to get our rights. And in that meeting, I could found only 15 or 20 people were there. This is the trend, what is happening. And same thing also raised by Simanchal sir. Much earlier, actually, in national level, many people tried to actually build the national level association. And rightly, I can say Professor Sanjay Bhatt, who has contributed a lot recently. I don't know actually latter past what happened, but Professor Sanjay Bhatt is doing a lot of things for the to get the recognition as an association for social workers. But the problem with us is the cooperation, and he was highly disappointed with this. Many people are not cooperating. And when you are talking about to come together, of course we have to come together when we see our future, and which is very dark. Without coming together, it is very difficult to create our identity. Otherwise, other people will hijack our professor. What is happening nowadays? Over to you, Bibhuti sir.
Thank you. In fact, to summarize what I experienced, I'll come down to the same concept: investing in the people, which is really some extent we are lacking, which can bring everybody together. So that will enable us and guide us towards the achievement of the social development. Thank you.
Sir Pradeep sir, you told that only 20 people were there in the last meeting. Sir, me as a social worker student, within 2-3 months, we will all united, and that 20 number will be 2000 soon. We'll assure.
Sure. We'll be more than happy for your for this contribution of yours.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, I am talking to you also, Hruday, and Dr. Sagarika and other people, those who are actually really concerned about the professional social worker identity and academic issues, all these things. Definitely, very shortly, we'll organize a consultation on that, and we'll plan out how to move forward. Now, regarding this presentation, any other question if anybody is having? I think we had a lot of discussion today. Thank you so much, sir. Actually, this presentation would have been completed in the last Saturday, but fortunately, I can say, since we had to actually discuss a number of things, so it got delayed, and really it was it is fruitful in today. And for that, actually, we are sincerely thankful to you, sir, for your nice presentation. And basically, you highlighted a lot of data in your presentation to identify the developmental challenges of people, those who are living in India or Odisha. Basically, on your presentation, you highlighted many things related to education, health, caste system, religious issues, many other things, which are really the challenging issues and the barriers in our development process. Thank you for your presentation, and in future, definitely we'll take your help for presenting such type of issues, since you have a lot of experience and exposure from outside India. I'm sure all the participants present in today's lecture would have been benefited in a multiple way through this presentation. And thank you for your nice deliberation. And I also thank Ms. Abha Mishra ma'am, Professor Asutosh Pradhan, Dr. Simanchal Ranjit, Dr. Sagarika Saha ma'am, and all other participants for your active involvement in this lecture, and citing a number of issues that will definitely help us to know to plan for further march or further progress in this direction. Thank you so much. Good night to all. Once again, we will meet in the next Saturday at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, namaskar. Ava madam, namaskar.
Sir, namaskar.
Thank you, sir.